everyone. Welcome to the Truly Julie Experience, a show that covers entertainment, lifestyle, and fashion topics. My name is Julian Lee, and I'm your host for today. Now, before we get into the interview, just a few house rules. I'm going to ask that if you have any comments or questions, no matter what platform you're watching, if it's Flex FM Radio on Facebook, or if you're watching www.flexfm.online, there's a chat box in either of those platforms. You can put any comments and questions that you have in the chat box. The second thing, I'm going to ask you to like and share the episode, because especially today, the first topic that we will be covering is something that can be life-saving, and that people, it will help if they hear, whether or not they're going through the experience or they know somebody that may going through the experience. Next, you can drop me a line at trulyjulieexperience.com if you have any questions, suggestions for the show, ideas. I am open and willing to, take that into consideration. And so just a disclaimer, again, today's episode will be covering a topic that for some people could be a trigger, of negative emotions and thoughts and things like that. So, just be aware and be, when you're watching the show, okay? Now, today's very special guest, Beverly Gordon, is the owner and CEO of Pretty Little Bagz, a Jamaican line of handbags and other fashion products. Now, in the first half of this interview, Beverly, a domestic abuse survivor, will be sharing her very personal story of surviving such abuse. And in the second half, she will share with us how dealing with her experiences led her to Pretty Little Bagz. Now, before I start speaking to my guest, we have a short 1-minute video clip that we're going to be getting on, just to give you an intro into our guest, a better intro than I could have just done, okay? So just stick around and wait for that. All right. Okay, so we're back. I don't know if you could hear her, the words in the video, but without further ado, we're gonna, welcome to the show, Beverly Gordon. Beverly, are you with us? Hello, how are you? Welcome to the Truly Julie Experience.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I know we were having a little bit of technical issues in the beginning, but hey, it's all good now, right? How are you? Welcome to the Truly Julie Experience. How are you?
I am well, my dear. I am well.
Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and, just a little bit about what you do now before we get into the meat and potatoes of the argument, of the discussion.
All right. So as you introduced me, my name is Beverly Gordon. I grew up in a beautiful little community in St. Catherine called Bogwalk. I attended Holy Child at High School.
Yay.
Yay. I, in my early years, I dabbled into modeling. I did a little bit on the beauty contest circuit. So I entered Miss Jamaica World, Miss Jamaica Universe, modeled a bit. And then by profession, I'm a trained administrative professional
Okay.
and a lover of customer service. Customer service is my heart and my passion.
Okay. All right. So now we're just going to dive right into the discussion because this is a very heavy topic, so I'm just going to dive right into it. How long were you in an abusive relationship? And
All right, so
and how long were you in the
go ahead.
relationship before the abuse started?
All right, so I was in a relationship for 4.5 years before the abuse started. Now, strangely enough, if you had seen the entire clip, the entire interview from the clip you played, you would have found out that you would have heard me say this was somebody who didn't add any value to my life.
Ah,
So 4.5 years, yes, we had a good friendship, nice intimacy, but there was no value beyond that. And then he was cheating on me, and there were several women that I found out about, even one who said she got pregnant for him while we were together. So all these things were going on, and I was being the forgiven girlfriend, and continued until I got tired of it and decided I'm done.
so
So I decided, go
so
ahead, Julie.
what was that one thing that made you decide that this is it, no more?
All right, so there was his last birthday that we spent together. I had made plans for us, and he agreed to the plans. We were supposed to go out, and he said he was going to check a friend and come back, pick something up while I got ready. He had already gotten ready. He never came back that night. Called him, never came back. Couldn't get him on his phone. And then the following morning, I found out that his quote unquote ex-girlfriend had thrown a party for him. And that just did it for me. I said I was done. So I just started living my life. I just started ignoring him. I stopped calling him and started dating. And one evening I came home. I was trying to learn to play tennis at Holy Childhood with Mr. Allen. So I came home one evening and he was awaiting me at my apartment, and he just gave me one uppercut in my right eye. And that was the start of it.
And this was 4.5 years after you started the relationship?
Yes.
And did you see any signs before that one incident that you were in a relationship with an abusive man?
No, the only thing I could say, if you're going to use the word abuse, I would say emotionally manipulative, in the sense that, he would lie about the things that he was doing with other women. But he never raised his voice at me, never as much as pinch me, never even slapped me in jest, never. This was a very quiet individual. He was jovial. So it did take me by surprise.
So after that first incident, how much longer did you stay with him?
Just a couple months. He hit me twice after that. There were two more occasions. The third occasion, I was especially scary because he was swinging a machete at me. And after that, I said, I can't do this. He's going to have to kill me, because he said he wasn't going to live without me. He said if he couldn't get me, nobody else could. And I just decided at that point, he's going to have to kill me or something is going to break. But I was done and I was out.
So after the first time, what made you decide to take him back? Because you said it happened a couple other occasions until you finally said no.
So he apologized. He cried, literal tears, apologized. And I said, because I never saw this side of him, I honestly believe he wouldn't do it again. And the second thing that made me forgive him, I love his family. He's from a big family, and his family is really close knit. And his brother came to me and begged me to take him back.
Oh, wow. Okay. And it happened a couple other times. And the third time, after the third time, you said, third time is not a charm, but it's over.
No, I was
Um,
told yes.
Now, you did say that hindsight is 2020. I mean, hindsight is 2020, and you did say in the beginning that you realized you were not getting any value from this relationship. When did you realize that? Was it before you decided to end it, or after you got out of it and you said, you know what, looking back on relationships, which we all do, at least I do,
Hmm.
you know, did you look back and say, you know what, why was I there so long? Because I was getting no value from this relationship. When did you have
There were
that?
red flags
Okay.
along the way, and I chose to ignore them. So it was really in reflection that I admitted this to myself. He wasn't contributing to any of my bills. He wasn't, we weren't, even though he had asked me to marry him, we weren't putting anything together. We weren't making a life together. Nothing was coming together. So basically, every time I look back at it, sometimes I said, I wasted 5 years of my life in that
Okay.
sense, but it's a learning experience. So
Okay, so you got out of the relationship safely, thank God. Were you ever, after you got out of the relationship, were you ever scared that maybe he would come after you? Because the last time, the last occasion was pretty, looking like he was leaning pretty violent. Were you scared for any time after you ended the relationship that he would come after you?
for about a year after the relationship ended, I basically kind of looked over my shoulder. He would call me and cuss me out. He would send messages. He left dirty messages on my phone, threatening messages on my phone. And I sort of just kind of, every time I came out of the house, I'd be looking to make, as a matter of fact, he came to my house probably about a week after I ended it or so. He came to my house about midnight one night with a friend to say he wanted to talk to me. And when I refused to open the door, he threatened to kill me. And he cussed me in the most derogatory way. Even his friend was shocked because his friend never saw that side of him either.
Oh wow. So it was a so you were there was a period of time when you were, as you say, looking over your shoulder and
Yeah, man,
you know, oh
it
wow.
was something that was, it was unbelievably scary. Because when he hit me the first time, I didn't become afraid of him immediately because I told myself, I excused the way that he acted in the moment, right? But then
Okay.
when he started, I remember one night we were going home and he was driving on the right hand side of the road, and he decided both of us were going to die. He didn't care if we ran into a truck or a bus. We drive on the left hand
Yeah.
side. So
Yeah.
he was on the right hand side of the road and he decided we're going to die that night. And I had to beg for my life. He didn't hit me that night, but the threat was there of him, trying to kill, you know, both of us, so to speak, so that, he didn't have to live without me.
So when you were going through these experiences or even right after, did you confide in anybody that this is what you're going through? What should you do? Did you tell anybody at all?
No, I did. Well, when it happened, when I got the first hit, I told my neighbor. I had a lovely neighbor living next door to me, and I told her. And I told two of my coworkers who I was very close with at the time. But there's a sense of shame and embarrassment that comes over you. And I felt like I couldn't go to my family with it. I couldn't tell my relationship with my mother was a little bit, unbalanced, so to speak. And Exactly what I feared from her, from telling her, happened later on because eventually, when I confessed it to her, she started telling my neighbors, so that was what I was trying to avoid with her. But with my brothers, even though I knew my brothers would probably step in and do something or have a talk with him, I felt such shame and embarrassment. It was a cloud over my head.
Oh, wow. So you had brothers. Was it you were afraid that they'd have a talk with him, or you were
Well, not
just
have no, I wasn't afraid of that because maybe if they had to talk with him, I would have walked away at that point. As a matter of fact, my brothers would have said to me at that point, if I had told them after the first incident, they probably would have physically pulled me away.
okay?
They would probably come and say, this is done. But there's a sense, as I said, there's a sense of, boy, worthlessness that comes over you when these things happen that you just, it's like you lose yourself.
So I guess that I can now understand because the short clip that we showed earlier was taken from, I think it was a 20-minute clip, a bigger documentary or an episode that you did for Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports. And
Right.
in it, one of the things you said that took me aback was you said that when somebody is going through domestic violence, they would rather prefer to have strangers help them than their family or friends. So I guess now, based on what you're saying, I guess it's stemming from embarrassment and that feeling of worthlessness that you didn't want your family members to know or close friends to
And in a
know.
sense, you feel like you're letting them down. Because in my case, I felt like I was letting down my brothers because I've never seen this in my family. So, when I say I haven't seen it in my family in terms of intimate relationships, I never grew up with that. As a child, I got whooped and stuff like that. But it, you know, when you look back at it, it's hard. It's something that's hard to speak about, and even though it's hard for me to, I think I'm just barely finding my voice. It's been 22 years, but I believe I think I'm just finding my voice to express how I really feel and how I felt back then and what it did to my life.
Well, you actually touched on something which was going to be my next question, which is, did you grow up seeing that type of relationship with anybody close to you, friends, family, and all of that? Because one would question, if you didn't, then what was it that made you decide to stay, even for a short time, in an abusive relationship? Because you have some people that say that's what they grew up seeing, that's what they thought was normal. But you said that you didn't grow up seeing that. So what was that one thing, or what was it that made you say, man, how
I
did
was
I
hoping you
get
would answer
myself
that
into this?
question. All right. So, my childhood is a little bit of a story. Um, my mother had me for somebody who was married, and he told my mother that I wasn't his child, he wasn't going to support me, and that she should abort me. And my mother made this very clear to me very early. Even when I didn't understand what abortion was, she told me. And when I was 5 years old, my father told my mother in front of my face that I wasn't his child and he would never support me and he would never accept me. No, I'm from a family where I have siblings on either side.
Okay.
I'm closer to my siblings on my mom's side because I grew up with them. And um, there were incidents of abuse against me in the sense that I remember when I was 2 years old, one of my brothers whooped me, and I think he was taking out his embarrassment of the extramarital affair because my brothers were embarrassed by this whole thing with my mom. Their father had died. She was married to their father. Their father had died, and then she had this affair with him as his husband, and they were in their teens. They were still pretty young, and they didn't know how to deal with it. So one of my brothers, when I was 2 years old, that's my earliest memory as a child, he beat me to the point where my skin was whaled. And then over the years, I've had, one of my brothers used to choke me and tell me, I should go to my father's house, and I was not, I was not his father's child. And I spent my entire life feeling rejected, and unwanted, not sure where I fit in. The one good thing that kept me, in a sense, was that my brothers never ever referred to me as their half sister. On either side of my family, none of my brothers ever referred to me as their half sister, nor my sister. They never referred to me as their half sister. So that is what kind of held me in my family, so to speak. But
Right.
I don't have my father's name. The name on my birth certificate does not belong to my father. And, so I've always been in this space where I felt rejected and not sure where I belong and unwanted. So all of that, I think, just kind of led up to me making some choices that
Right.
were very questionable.
Okay.
When I know some of my Holy Child sisters, if they're listening to this, would probably be surprised by this story. A few of them may know it. I got pregnant after third form in high school, and my mother said I had to have an abortion, so I couldn't have my child. And then when my mother suspected I was pregnant, I ran away, so to speak. So I left the day and I went to tell the guy. And he was a little bit older than me, and he was at work. And he said to me I should go to his house and stay until he comes and we'll talk about it. Julie, he came home at midnight with a woman and put me out of his house at 14 years old. So it's been a
A roller
series of
coaster,
little,
yeah, for you as far as,
yeah,
yeah.
a series of little things that, continued into, poor judgment and bad decisions.
Okay. Well, so if you are aware of somebody being subjected to domestic violence, you know, as a survivor, what would you say to them? Or would you even say to them anything at all? Because nowadays society is saying, you see what you see, but, stay out of people's business and things like that. So if you suspect somebody is going through domestic, violence, being abused, what, if anything, would you say to them?
I would share my story with them. And I would hope that I could encourage them to leave. Run. Don't wait for it to happen a second time. Don't wait for it to happen a third time. A lot of times, in my case, it wasn't a financial need, but in a lot of cases, a lot of women are stuck financially. And I would say to women, as best as you can, try to be financially independent. Um, so that if you get yourself in that position, if you find yourself in that situation, you can leave. If you're not financially dependent on this man and it happens, leave. My thing about it though is that sometimes some people are so badly broken that their abuser is their only lifeline. As strange as it seems, their abuser is their only lifeline, and they find it difficult to leave. So we can always sit out here and say, why should I leave? I remember after the video for the ministry came out, one of my friends said she felt bad because she had always said, no man can beat her. And I'd mentioned in the video that people tend to be judgmental, and my thing about it is, as a society, we need to drop the judgment. We need to stop this thing where we think we can tell women, do this, don't do this, you know?
Yeah.
Walk with the person, walk with them through their experience. Because
Okay.
you staying on the sideline and telling them what to do sometimes will not help. They need to know that they have a solid support. They need that solid support. They don't need you telling them what you would do in the situation. They don't need you telling them it can't happen to you. And they don't need you to tell them, go down the road and, whatever. Stand with them if you can. If the situation is volatile, I don't expect you to put yourself in a position, because some men are vicious and violent when a woman tries to leave them.
Right.
So I'm not expecting you to put yourself in an unsafe situation, but as best as you can, lend your support in such a way that the person knows that you're there for them.
Okay, so apart from seeing obvious signs of violence, like, black and blue face, eye, bruises on the body, and then when you ask a person, how did that happen, and they say things like, I fell down the stairs, walked into a wall, that kind of stuff. What are some signs that you can possibly see that say, hey, this person seems like, or maybe in a violent situation at home?
I would say mostly probably a change in personality. If the person is usually a quiet person and all of a sudden they become extremely extroverted, that can be a red flag. If the person is extroverted and all of a sudden they are now introverted, that can also be a red flag. It can be a switch on either side. And, just if you see them with their partner,
We're not getting any sound. Bev, are you still with us?
and
Hello?
they tend to flinch a little bit. Sometimes if the person reaches out to them, if you see them with their partner and you see them flinching away, that too can be a telltale sign. If the person is trying to touch them, reach out to them, and you see them flinching away, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Some signs to watch out for. Now, with the clip that we saw, the 1 minute clip, and I know that there is, I think, a 20 odd minute episode with the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. Why did you decide to do that? And was it a hard decision for you to come out and share your story in such a public way?
All right, so when I had posted something about my experience, and I think it was at one point, it probably was during October, during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I had posted something on Facebook mentioning my experience. And the ministry, Oliver Ministry reached out to me and asked me. And at that point, I said to myself, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to say something. If I can help one person hears the story and gets the courage to walk away, then maybe it's a story worth telling.
Okay. So I can say that for anybody that's probably going through that, situation, domestic violence, that it's something to watch, because you can get encouragement from, watching the clip. It is on YouTube. But one thing, how were you reached out to by the ministry, or did you reach out to them? Because what I realized from your bio is you actually used to work for them, right? So how was that? Right. So
right.
So
that's how I knew Oliver from then. So when he's on my Facebook post, he saw the Facebook post and he reached out to me and asked if I would tell my story.
Okay. All right. So that being said, working for the ministry, this month is recognized as Reggae Month. Were you there at the time that Reggae Month was implemented?
Yes, yeah, man. Because I did 2 years with the ministry, so I was there at the time. So because this has been going on for a few years well now, so yes.
Right. Okay, so one question that I do have to ask that's going to tie in Reggae Month with domestic violence. There's always been these conversations that, lyrics for reggae songs, dancehall songs are violent, whether it's, against guys killing each other for whatever reason or violence against women. Do you think that the lyrics are just a storytelling of what's going on in a particular person's community, or do you think that it's encouraging the actual violence to go on or to continue?
Well, Julie, reggae is for me, it's a very sweet and calming music. I think the dancehall aspect is what crept in and started I don't know if I should say degradation of the music in terms of the violence and even the lyrics that degrade women. So Bob would say when the music hits, you feel no pain, but now it has become painful. Right. In the sense that, the other day I saw when we had, I think it was when, what's her name? Kenise Jackson, that young woman in Portmore who was murdered.
Right.
And, some of the artists came out in support and, was talking about domestic violence and, ending violence against women. But a lot of them are still associating with friends and associates in the music business who either have rumors to be wife beaters, or their lyrics are tainted with, abusive words towards women.
Right.
Sometimes when I listen to I don't really listen to DJ music these days, but sometimes when I'm in the taxi or, you're in public sphere and you hear somebody's music, you wonder, why would you even utter those things out in your mouth? Why would you record those things?
Well, I have a friend who
said, I believe a lot of it does contribute
to. Okay, because there's somebody I know that says that, and I tend to agree that violence is built into Jamaican culture and partially comes through the music. But okay, so.
Yeah, we can't blame the music alone. We can't blame the music alone.
No, we can't blame anything alone.
It's already there.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this segment, Bev, I want to thank you for sharing your story. I know it wasn't, the easiest thing to do because you called me and told me, that it was kind of, not easy. So I do thank you for joining and telling this part of your story for this segment. Now, for the viewers, before we go to commercial, I just want to say that, just please keep in mind that domestic violence it happens everywhere in the world. It does not respect any one person, gender, sex, sexual orientation, socio-economic class, or anything. It can happen to anybody. So I know I have viewers in different parts of the world, so I don't know in every part of the world what resources there are for women or people going through domestic violence to call upon. But I know here in the States there are a few national resources that you can use. Always, if you feel you're in immediate danger, call 911 if it's safe to do so. In certain states, you can even text 911. That this is not in all U.S. states, but there's like maybe 15 or 20 states where you can text to 911. Anybody can dial 911 from a phone a cell phone, even if it's not on active service. It can be an old phone, no SIM card, nothing, and you can dial 911. However, in the states where you can text 911, it does have to be an active working phone on an active system. And next, there's a national.
And before you, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Before you go further with that, Julie, in Jamaica, I don't know if everybody is aware that we now have 2 shelters.
Okay.
The Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports have now opened 2 shelters here in Jamaica. Of course, the location has not been disclosed.
Right, of course.
But if you need help, you can reach out to somebody at the ministry or any of the Women's Bureau, and they can come to your assistance.
Okay, that's great.
So I'm really grateful for that.
Okay. And here, National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. You can call that number and it's a national number, so wherever you are in the States, they will give you information on things like shelters where you can go to in your state, other resources that you can take advantage of if you're going through a domestic violence relationship. So, okay, again, Bev, thanks. Stick and stay with us because we're coming back for a second segment to talk about something fun, all right? Your bag line, Pretty Little Bagz, all right? So it's time for a quick commercial break, folks, so just stay with us, and when we come back, we'll continue talking with Beverly Gordon.
CAR Caribbean Auto Resource, located at 5270B North State Road 7 in the city of North Lauderdale. We have a program built for tax time. Our program includes $500 minimum down payment, cash or trade-in. Qualifies after 30 days on the job. $1,600 minimum income. Units up to 13-year-old. Mileage up to 150,000. Yes, everyone's approved. That's Caribbean Auto Resource. Once again located at 5270B North State Road 7 in the city of North Lauderdale. You can contact us by phone at 954-399-3787 or 954-557-9907. Don't forget about our referral program. Refer a friend and earn from $50 up to $200. Yes, it's true. I ask these questions a lot of times, so if you have been wondering, yes, we finance people who don't have a driver's license. Beacon score does not matter. One of my dealers closed a deal on the 383 Beacon. Good credit, bad credit, any credit, you're approved. Don't ask me how they do it. Just know that it's done. It's Caribbean Auto Resource. Call them today and you'll be driving in minutes. It's time to stop dreaming and start driving.
Out of my dreams, get into my car.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to the second segment of the Truly Julie Experience. Again, I'm going to ask everybody to like and share the episode. You never know what kind of education, entertainment, or enjoyment somebody may get from watching this show. Now we're back with Beverly Gordon, who, we heard her speak about her domestic violence experience in the first segment. Now in this segment, we're talking about her fashion bag line called Pretty Little Things, right? Did I get that pronunciation correct?
Little Bagz.
Pretty Little Bagz. Sorry, Pretty Little Bagz. Okay. Now, again, Reggae Month, and we have to realize that reggae music does not just only influence other, musical genres, but it also influences other parts of entertainment, fashion, things like that. So we're here talking with Beverly, who she is a Jamaican crochet artisan. I'm going to ask her about that later. The timeless pieces of her bag line, they're stylish, versatile, and sassy at an affordable price, while allowing clients to express their individuality and creativity. Now, let me ask you, Beverly, when did you start Pretty Little Bagz?
All right, so officially, I started in 2020, May of 2020. but it started before that. I used to make, pouches and purses for friends, and I even sold a few before. And then in 2020, when COVID hit and I came back home, I decided to turn it in my hobby into a business.
So how long were you doing your hobbies? It's something that you just picked up right before when you decided to do this as a business, or was it something that you were doing from childhood? Or how long?
So I started crocheting when I was 19. There was a lady who lived on the other side of a house I was living, and she taught me how to crochet. She would see me watching her and realize I was interested, so she offered to teach me. And then years after that, I became friends with a young lady who also crocheted, and she took me another level up. So she taught me how to make wall hangings and get them framed. So I used to do like people's birth signs and their names and Cupid and all of that, and I would get it framed for them and sell it.
Okay, now Jamaican crochet artisan. Isn't crochet something that is associated with, an old woman's thing that they have nothing else to do with their time? Hey, I'm just asking a question that I'm sure other people are wondering but wouldn't ask because I've never known of it. When I was 19, I never knew of a 19-year-old crocheting. I knew some people who were in, who like to make their own clothing, but not crocheting.
Well, one of the myths about crochet is that it is a old woman's, skill, crochet and knitting. And let me clear something up. Crochet is completely different from knitting.
Okay, what's the
Because
difference?
people like to interchange them. Usually knitting is the one where you use 2 needles,
Okay.
and crochet you use 1.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, but people tend to interchange them.
Oh, I guess because
So
we
it's
really
a
didn't know
myth
the
that is an
difference.
only there. Yes, there is a difference, and then usually too, when you knit, knitting comes out a little bit softer. Knitting tends to be a little bit softer than crochet items. However, this myth that it's an old lady's skill, no, it is not. There are a lot of people in the world today, a lot of young women. There are some talented women on TikTok and Instagram showing their work. Young girls. There are a lot of talented men too who crochet. As a matter of fact, I have to give shout out to this little boy that I follow him on Instagram. His name is Jonah, and he's from Ethiopia, and he was adopted by American parents. And he learned how to crochet. He taught himself to crochet when he was 5, and he's now a crochet prodigy, and he is
Oh, wow.
amazing. I consider him far more talented than me. So it's a modern art.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clearing the difference between crocheting and knitting because I had no idea. I thought it was the same thing. You just use different types
No.
of needles. Okay. So what kind of bags do you offer? And is it just stuff made just crochet? 100% crochet?
So 100% crochet except for the lining.
Okay.
I line the bags because crochet is something that tends to stretch. So I line them. There are zippers in them. I do crossbody bags, beach bags, clutches, makeup bags, wristlets.
We do have some pictures that I wanna put up of some of your collections. Okay.
Yes. So those are my combo right there.
Okay. And
So you get a crossbody with a purse.
okay, and we have another one, and that's
That's the reggae hobo bag.
okay. So you have a reggae inspired collection, right? Not just that bag.
Right. So the collection on a whole is called the 876 collection. And under my 876 collection, I have two segments. I have the Jamaican segment, which I call the Yardy segment, and that's anything that's black, green, and gold.
Like the first picture that we
And
showed.
then I have
Okay.
right. And then I have the reggae segment, which is anything that has red, green, and gold in it.
Okay, we have a couple other slides also. And so I
So I
see
do
that it's not
masks
only
too.
bags, but you have other things like masks. What?
Yes, I'm wearing my hat. I made
Okay.
this. I
Okay,
made
so
my earrings. These are my earrings.
hats, earrings,
I do
masks.
scarves. I do
Okay.
belts.
Okay. All right. So you've
So
diversified.
those are some scarves and bags right there. Yes.
Okay. So where can somebody get your products?
All right. So I'm on Carib Shopper. So it's caribshopper.com/pretty little bags.
Okay. Because that's how I actually saw you, because I was on Carib Shoppers looking for something else.
Yes.
And then I saw the bag collection. I
Yes.
said, wait, I heard this name before. And I followed up. And it's okay.
Yes. I
Um,
even do, sometimes I even do, um, I step out of my comfort zone, the fashion zone, and I will do um, coasters. I like making coasters.
okay. Okay. Well, I mean, you just seem to keep adding to your collection, right? Because apart from bags, you have
I'm, I'm,
hats.
I'm trying not, I'm
Ha-
trying not to widen it much.
okay. Do you do custom orders? Like if somebody says, man, they don't see what they want on your site, or they have something specific in mind, they want something custom for a birthday gift or something. Can people get in touch with you to do custom?
Yes, they can. I tend to be a little bit nervous about it sometimes because you don't want to just get up and use somebody's pattern. So if I'm going to use a pattern from somebody else, I want to make sure I give recognition to the artist, to the artisan who designed the pattern.
Well, it
Because
may not
people
be
out there, they work very hard for their patterns.
well, it may not be a pattern somebody has. Somebody may just say, I want something special that's not on your site that you currently don't offer. And I have this idea. They don't have a drawing or anything, but they just want you to custom make something for them. Oh, I think,
Yeah,
can
man,
you,
I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone and try.
okay.
Can't promise, but I'll definitely try.
All right. So, as the owner of this fashion line, this bag line, where do you see this going? Do you see it expanding more? Being available on more, in more locations, or offering more products, or what do you see in the future for Pretty Little Bags?
So my vision for it is for it to be, the person who offers that in Jamaica. So if somebody wants a bag, the first thing they think of is Pretty Little Bag, and then go beyond just Jamaica. The challenge I have, which is the challenge most new entrepreneurs will face, is that I still have a regular job because the bills has to be paid.
Right. Right.
And then I work alone, and crochet is something that takes time. So, but I want to be able to teach young women and men. I want to be able to pass it on. I want to be able to women who want to learn the skill and young men who want to learn the skill, that this is a way for you to make money. You can turn it into a business.
Right. Okay.
So I want to just go beyond it being where it is now. I want it to grow, and I want it to be able to hire people. I want people to learn from me and then go on and start their own businesses. So collaborate with other artists and just expand the line.
Okay. Awesome. So how can somebody get in touch with you apart from on getting your products on Caribbean Shopper? If somebody wanted to get in touch with you.
Oh, outside of Caribbean Shopper, I'm on Instagram, Pretty Little Bagz.
Okay.
Also on Facebook, Pretty Little Bagz. So they can DM me if they want to order. Facebook has been pretty awesome.
Okay.
So they can DM me there and tell me what they need, and we can discuss it from there.
Okay. Well, Bev, again, thank you for joining us for today. And again, sharing your story, your domestic violence story. Glad that you came out of that, and to see also that you have an awesome business, an awesome product. I wish you good luck with all of that. And I will be calling you for one of those bags because I'm a bag fanatic.
All right, Julie. And just one last thing, just to say to women who are in this situation, when you leave the situation, you find your power. And when you find your power, it can lead you to limitless abundance.
Okay. I'm sure everybody will appreciate that one. All right. Again, thank you for being a part of the Truly Julie experience. Everybody, that is all the time. That is all the time we have for today's show. Thank you for being with us, and I want to see you back here again next week for another episode of the Truly Julie experience. Stay with us for the next show that we have coming up after this, which is a Caribbean Blend with Lisa L. And until next week, have an awesome day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Beverly, thanks again.
CAR Caribbean Auto Resource, located at 5270B North State Road 7 in the city of North Lauderdale. We have a program built for tax time. Our program includes $500 minimum down payment, cash or trade-in. Qualifies after 30 days on the job. $1,600 minimum income. Units up to 13-year-old. Mileage up to 150,000. Yes, everyone's approved. That's Caribbean Auto Resource. Once again located at 5270B North State Road 7 in the city of North Lauderdale. You can contact us by phone at 954-399-3787 or 954-557-9907. Don't forget about our referral program. Refer a friend and earn from $50 up to $200. Yes, it's true. I ask these questions a lot of times, so if you have been wondering, yes, we finance people who don't have a driver's license. Beacon score does not matter. One of my dealers closed a deal on the 383 Beacon. Good credit, bad credit, any credit, you're approved. Don't ask me how they do it. Just know that it's done. It's Caribbean Auto Resource. Call them today and you'll be driving in minutes. It's time to stop dreaming and start driving.
Out of my dreams, into my car.
Hi, I'm Nigel Blair, studio host for Flex FM Sports, coverage of CASA, Caribbean America's Soccer Association League. Don't forget to subscribe to watch highlights all season long and to be sure to tune in every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Flex FM Sports for live coverage of all matches.